as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a
Jake Paul has become a polarizing figure in the world of boxing, capturing the attention of millions with his unorthodox rise from social media influencer to professional fighter. Many have followed his journey, eagerly watching him face off against various opponents, most notably YouTubers, MMA fighters, and retired boxers. His popularity has made him a huge draw for pay-per-view events, and while some admire his hustle and ability to sell a fight, others question whether his success can be attributed to real boxing ability or just marketing and promotion. One of the most significant debates surrounding Jake Paul's boxing career is whether he is truly ready to step into the ring with elite fighters, specifically someone like Canelo Alvarez. Floyd Mayweather, one of the greatest boxers of all time, has openly criticized the idea of Jake Paul facing Canelo, stating that Paul may look good against YouTubers and non-boxers, but he would struggle against a real fighter. Mayweather believes that once Jake steps up to face an elite boxer like Canelo, it will be the end of his boxing career. Despite these harsh criticisms, Jake Paul continues to maintain confidence in his abilities. In interviews, he has repeatedly claimed that he is on a path toward eventually facing Canelo, citing his increasing skill level and self-belief as evidence that he is capable of defeating the pound-for-pound champion. Jake argues that Canelo will eventually fight him, not out of a desire for competition, but because the financial incentive is too great to ignore. Paul's ability to generate massive pay-per-view sales is a key factor in his belief that Canelo will step into the ring with him. After all, boxing is a business, and Canelo, who is known as one of the smartest businessmen in the sport, might be enticed by the prospect of a massive payday. Jake has even gone as far as to predict that he will defeat Canelo. He believes that his size advantage, weighing in at around 200 pounds, will give him the upper hand in a potential fight. He also points out that the fight would be a spectacle, drawing massive attention from the media and fans alike, regardless of whether or not people are rooting for him to win. He believes that his ability to generate media attention is unmatched, and that this is why Canelo will eventually have to fight him. However, most boxing analysts and experts believe that Jake Paul is out of his depth when it comes to facing someone like Canelo. Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle and a respected boxing figure, has dismissed the idea of a Jake Paul-Canelo fight as unrealistic. He compared it to Jake calling out other legendary boxers like Muhammad Ali, joking that it is simply not a matchup anyone would take seriously. Jeff believes that Jake is living in a fantasy world and calling out top-level boxers without proving himself against real competition. He claims that Canelo would never accept a fight against Jake because it would be far from competitive, and it wouldn't be taken seriously by anyone in the sport. In a similar vein, Carl Frampton, a former world champion, has also weighed in on the debate, stating that Jake would be completely outclassed by Canelo if the fight ever took place. Frampton emphasizes that Canelo is one of the most dangerous and skilled boxers in the world, and Jake simply doesn't have the experience or the ability to contend with someone of Canelo's caliber. He believes that Jake would get hurt in the ring, and that the fight would expose his lack of boxing skill. Frampton even jokingly claimed that he could beat Jake with one arm, highlighting the disparity in skill levels between the two fighters. Despite the overwhelming skepticism from boxing analysts and critics, Jake's trainer has hinted that a formal announcement regarding a Jake Paul-Canelo Alvarez fight is imminent. This has sparked further speculation about the possibility of the fight actually taking place. Some fans believe that Jake is simply bluffing to generate media attention and keep his name in the spotlight, while others think that there may be some truth to the rumors. Regardless of whether or not the fight happens, Jake Paul has succeeded in creating hype and keeping people talking about his potential matchups with top-level boxers like Canelo. There's also the issue of timing. If Jake Paul were to fight Canelo in May, Many experts believe that Jake simply wouldn't have enough time to properly prepare. Not only would he need to drop weight and get into shape, but he would also need months of training to close the significant skill gap between him and Canelo. Even if the fight were scheduled later in the year, many believe that Jake would still not have enough time to become a legitimate threat to Canelo. Jake has expressed confidence in his ability to catch up to Canelo's skill level, claiming that in 3 years, he will be able to defeat the Mexican champion. He believes that with his new team and continuous training, he will be able to make the leap from fighting lesser opponents to facing the world's best. Jake is convinced that Canelo, who is nearing the end of his career, will eventually need to take a fight like this for the financial reward. He argues that the fight would be huge, not just in terms of the paycheck, but also in terms of entertainment and spectacle. Jake's fans are loyal, and they would tune in to watch the event, whether they are hoping to see him win or hoping for him to get knocked out. In response to the critics who question whether Jake deserves a shot at Canelo, Jake argues that he has earned the right by defeating world champions in sparring and by continuously improving his skill set. He claims that he is ready for the challenge, but others in the boxing world believe that he's not prepared for the level of competition that Canelo represents. Joe Rogan, for example, has praised Canelo's boxing intelligence and defensive abilities, noting that Canelo controls every aspect of a fight. Rogan believes that there is simply no way that Jake Paul, with his limited experience, can match up against a fighter like Canelo, who has been in the game for years and has proven himself against some of the best in the world. Even though most experts dismiss the idea of Jake Paul fighting Canelo, Jake's confidence and self-belief have fueled his ambitions. He is constantly working to improve, and he believes that his size, power, and dedication will make him a serious contender in the future. Jake has consistently reiterated that his ultimate goal is to fight Canelo, and he remains undeterred by the naysayers who doubt his ability to succeed at the highest level. In the end, the question remains, will Jake Paul ever fight Canelo Alvarez? The answer is unclear, but the fact that the possibility of such a fight is even being discussed is a testament to Jake's ability to generate media attention and hype. Regardless of whether or not the fight happens, Jake has already achieved a level of fame and success that many boxers can only dream of. He has carved out a niche for himself in the world of boxing, and while he may not yet be a legitimate threat to the sports elite, he has certainly proven that he knows how to sell a fight and keep people talking. For Canelo, the idea of fighting Jake Paul may seem laughable to some, but with the right financial incentives, it could make sense in a business-driven sport like boxing. In any case, the ongoing discussions about Jake's potential fight with Canelo continue to stir debate and speculation, and no matter how the situation unfolds, Jake Paul's place in boxing history is already secured, whether as a novelty act or as someone who truly challenges the sport's elite.